Hi there. Welcome back to the Endurance Mentors vlog. My name is Joe from Endurance Mentors, and we took a little bit of a hiatus from putting videos out to compete in Ironman Lake Placid. I know there was a good chunk of you out there doing it as well. So if you finished, congratulations. It was a tough race this year, but I really think everyone did a great job. And we're following along in some of the conversation after the fact. And as we were getting back into getting a content calendar together, one of the things that I'm seeing quite a bit of is people commenting about maybe preparing for next year or maybe a race later this year and wondering about whether or not they should work with a coach. So, first thing that I wanted to do is actually just highlight this blog post that we put out in February of this year. I'll make this available in the description of this video. So if you're interested in reading it, just go ahead and click on it. But I thought it might be beneficial for athletes to hear my story of how I came to start working with a coach back in 2021. So it's been 3 years now. Um, First and foremost, I think all of you know, but I am a coach myself. So take this all with a grain of salt. But I'll be fully transparent here about kind of my journey to working with a coach, and I hope some of you find it helpful. So, if I look back in my endurance sports journey, I've been doing races basically for 25 years at this point, but never really worked with a coach. I didn't do this in high school or college or anything like that. I kind of picked it up independently, and I always just did it myself, and that was perfectly fine. I was always very satisfied with my results, but as I progressed, and especially after I got into Ironman specifically, but also like marathon running, I started to feel like I was reaching a plateau. Um, Not even in my results, but in my training, like trying to figure out how to balance the right amount of training with life. I have a young family. Um, just basically how to get the most out of myself. And it wasn't until after my third Ironman, training myself, that I just felt that my approach, although it was getting me, I was very proud of the races that I had done leading up to that point. I just felt like I couldn't take the next step, not only in race results, but in like approaching a race and how much do you enjoy the race and how prepared are you for that race. I really felt like I needed to take that next step. Now, full transparency, I was hesitant to work with a coach really for a couple different reasons. The first of which was I did not think I was really worthy of working with a coach. I think of a coach, I think of like a high level athlete. That absolutely is not me. So I kind of thought, I'm not good enough to be coached. Turns out that was completely wrong, but that was a feeling I had. So that's something that I'm sure other people feel. And the other piece of this is financial, because it is a financial commitment to do races like this, and also you already have a lot invested in it. To then put more into it, even if it's a small amount, can be a big hurdle, to jump over. So those were the two things that kind of held me back initially. But at the end of the day, what I came back to, and my primary reason for wanting to take on a coach was that my training was getting stale, and I was starting to get a little bit out of balance from like a training, life, family, work standpoint. And I really felt like I needed some help. So I started working with a coach back in 2021, and I was immediately just impressed by how much I learned. How much she held me back was like one of the biggest surprises that I really came across. Ironman training can be, or Ironman, or even endurance, any endurance sport really, but we were coming off of the Ironman, so that's fresh in my mind. It can be very lonely, and a lot of times people don't really understand what you're going through, right? But a coach does, so it actually ends up being someone who's kind of in your corner, who can kind of really help you along, and they know what you're going through, which is actually really helpful, kind of like a therapist for an athlete. Um, so, it ended up being very beneficial for me, and it ended up being the right decision for me because I needed that additional structure and I needed that additional support really to help balance out my training in my life. And ultimately, that led to better results as well, out on different races. I was able to execute races better. It did lead to better times, absolutely. My best times were all when I went through and had a coach the entire way through my training cycle. So take that for whatever it's worth, but that's my personal experience. Now, mentioned before, obviously, I am a coach and I run endurance mentors with my wife, Julia. And one thing I want to just share with everybody is I still work with my own coach. And my own coach is not part of Endurance Mentors because we started it afterwards. And even as a coach, and even as I think about, could I write my own training plan? Of course. But there is just something about when you're putting something together for yourself, there is this kind of your eyes are bigger than your stomach in a lot of cases. At least that's the case for me. And if I write down something on a piece of paper that I'm going to accomplish, okay, and I know that I wrote it in this very odd way, I tend to kind of overdo it for myself. Whereas if I'm working with another athlete, I know and feel very confident that I'm putting them in a place of success. Versus when it's yourself, you have this kind of self doubt. So I continue to work with my coach to this day, and I she's excellent, and I will continue to work with her. She works with my wife as well. So if you're out there and you're on the fence about should I self coach, should I hire a coach, and you want to talk about this, I will say that we have an option available for you. Our initial coaching sessions, our one-off coaching sessions that we call mentorship sessions, are 100% free the first time through. So if anybody wants to talk about whether or not coaching is right for you or what to expect from a coach given your particular situation, I've included a link in the description of this video. All you have to do is click on it, fill it out. We'll find some time to connect and we can discuss if coaching is right for you. Thanks so much for your time today. We actually have put together a content calendar. We have more coming. We're going to be diversifying the content a little bit, doing a little bit more around running, a little bit more around 70.3 racing. So we're going to get back to our normal cadence, and I'm looking forward to working with many of you over the rest of 2024 and then into 2025. Thanks so much.